Scientists gave a mantis shrimp a color test. They spent months setting it up. They trained the animal, ran the experiment, collected the data, and then they had to throw out the results. Not because something went wrong, because the mantis shrimp was so far beyond what they expected, the test itself made no sense anymore. That is the mantis shrimp, an animal that breaks the rules just by existing. Let's set up the test because you need to understand what they thought they were measuring. You have 3 types of color receptors in your eyes. 3. That's how you see the entire rainbow, every sunset, every shade of green in a forest, every color on a screen right now. 3 receptors doing all of that work. A dog has 2, which is why their color world is slightly washed out compared to ours. A butterfly has 5, which already sounds incredible. The mantis shrimp has 12 to 16. When scientists discovered this, the conclusion seemed obvious. 16 receptors means 16 channels of color information. More channels means more detail. More detail means the mantis shrimp must be living in a color world so rich, so saturated, so far beyond anything we could imagine, that we'd never even be able to describe it to another human being. It seemed like the most visually gifted creature on Earth. So they built a test around that assumption. They picked 2 colors that are extremely close together, colors that humans can barely separate. The logic was airtight. If this animal has 16 color receptors to our 3, it should detect the difference between these colors with 0 effort. It should make us look colorblind by comparison. The shrimp failed. Not barely, not almost. It performed at chance level, meaning it was essentially guessing. It couldn't tell the colors apart at all. The researchers assumed they'd made a mistake. They redesigned parts of the experiment. Same result. That's when the uncomfortable realization hit. They hadn't made a mistake. Their assumption had been wrong from the very beginning. Here's what they got wrong. More receptors doesn't mean finer detail. The mantis shrimp doesn't compare channels the way your brain does. Each receptor fires a yes or no. It's not seeing color. It's reading barcodes. Instant recognition, no processing required. Not better vision, a completely different kind of vision. The mantis shrimp recognizes colors the way you recognize your own name, not by analyzing it, just by knowing it. This means it's actually worse than us at tasks requiring fine color discrimination, but it's impossibly fast at color recognition. In an underwater world where a split-second decision is the difference between catching a meal and missing it, or between dodging a predator and becoming one, speed matters infinitely more than nuance. Nature didn't give the mantis shrimp better vision. It gave it a completely different kind of vision, built for a completely different life. Now, here's another fact. The mantis shrimp can punch. Not in a cute metaphorical sense, in a this animal has evolved its own ballistic weapon sense. There are 2 main types of mantis shrimp, spearers and smashers. Spearers use sharp, blade-like limbs to impale soft-bodied prey. That's already alarming, but smashers are in a different category entirely. They go after hard-shelled prey, crabs, snails, clams, oysters, and they don't crack them open, they destroy them with their fists. The smasher's club-shaped appendage, the dactyl club, accelerates from 0 to full speed in less than 3 milliseconds. That's faster than a bullet leaving the barrel of a gun. The force of impact is roughly 1,500 times the shrimp's own body weight. If you scale that up to human proportions, it would be like throwing a punch that travels at highway speed and hits with the energy of a car crash.
But here's where reality beats expectation. Even when it misses, it wins. The strike moves so fast it creates a cavitation bubble, a near vacuum pocket. When it collapses, it releases a shock wave and a flash of heat that briefly reaches the temperature of the surface of the sun. So it stuns or kills the target anyway. Now you'd think that a limb doing this repeatedly would destroy itself, but the dactyl club doesn't shatter, doesn't crack, doesn't wear down the way you'd expect. Engineers have copied this design for helmets and body armor. A creature the size of a lobster roll is teaching humans how to build armor. Let's talk about their social life, because it's not what you'd expect from something that punches with the force of a car crash. Mantis shrimp are mostly monogamous. Many species pair up and stay together for up to 20 years, sharing the same burrow, raising multiple broods together. The male often helps carry the eggs. You expected solitary, violent predator. Reality, devoted long-term partner who punches threats and then goes home to his family. They also recognize each other individually using their color vision. Mantis shrimp can identify specific individuals they've had conflicts with before, and they adjust their behavior based on that history. They remember who they've beaten and who's beaten them. They hold grudges. They have social memory. And they communicate all of this, rivalries, recognition, courtship, warnings, partly through that private, circularly polarized light channel that no other species can intercept. Light can spin. The direction it spins is called polarization. Almost nothing in nature can detect circular polarization. The mantis shrimp can detect it and produce it. Tissues on its body generate and reflect light, spinning in a direction no predator, no rival, no other species can see.
Now here's the fact that reframes all of the others. The mantis shrimp lineage is approximately 400 million years old. To give that number some weight, dinosaurs appeared on Earth about 230 million years ago. The mantis shrimp was already ancient, already punching, already using its private light channel, already raising its family in a burrow when the first dinosaur took its first step. It has survived every major mass extinction in Earth's history. The Ordovician extinction, the Devonian extinction, the Permian extinction, the largest in Earth's history, which killed over 90% of all marine species, the one that killed the dinosaurs. Through all of it, the mantis shrimp lineage survived, adapted, and continued. It watched entire kingdoms of life rise and fall, and is still here, unchanged in its essential design, because that design works. 400 million years of refinement. Evolution kept coming back to this body plan because it worked so well across so many environments, against so many challenges, that nothing has managed to replace it. And right now, its home is being erased. The mantis shrimp is a reef animal. It lives in burrows dug into the sandy floor around coral reefs. And the reef is not just where it lives, it's the entire structure of its world. The Indo-Pacific, and specifically the region called the Coral Triangle, spanning Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Timor-Leste, holds the highest concentration of mantis shrimp species anywhere on the planet. Over 500 species of coral in that single region. Thousands of marine species depending on the reef's existence. Coral bleaching is dismantling it. When ocean temperatures rise even slightly above their normal range, coral expels the symbiotic algae living in its tissue. That algae is what gives coral its color. Dead coral doesn't become an empty lot waiting to be rebuilt. It becomes rubble, and rubble is not a habitat. The entire architecture of the reef, the structure that thousands of species have evolved around over millions of years, simply ceases to exist. The Indo-Pacific Initiative, a formal partnership between 6 governments and international conservation organizations, is working to protect this region through marine protected areas, sustainable fishing policies, and coordinated early responses to bleaching events. The link is in the description. It is worth knowing about and worth supporting. When we lose the reef, we lose the mantis shrimp. We lose the 500 coral species. We lose the millions of animals that depend on them. We lose creatures we haven't even studied yet. Animals that may be doing things as extraordinary as encrypted light communication. Things we haven't discovered because we haven't yet built the right equipment to look. Here's the question the mantis shrimp leaves you with, and it's not a comfortable one. We designed an entire scientific experiment, months of preparation, careful controls, rigorous methodology, and got the results completely backwards because we assumed the animal thinks like we do. We assumed that more receptors means what it means for us, and it took years of confusion before anyone figured out why the results made no sense. That's one animal, one experiment, one wrong assumption. How many others are there? How many creatures are right now doing something extraordinary, having conversations we can't hear, seeing light we can't detect, building structures that could transform our engineering, and we haven't found it yet because we keep designing tests for minds like ours? Nature's errors aren't errors at all. We just haven't built the right tests yet. On Nature's Errors, we will explore more animals like this. Subscribe for more.